Good afternoon and welcome to Winol Sport for your weekly roundup of the sports news from around the county. I'm Guy Nicklinson. We start off with our regular roundup of military football. On Friday, the Adjutant General's Corps men's team took on the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. I was there to see how it unfolded. AGC made the perfect start to the match, playing through the thirds to create this opening goal for striker Corey Pearce less than 4 minutes in. The Remy, however, took control of the match, working this shooting opportunity, which was matched by the goalkeeper. And they soon equalised midway through the first half. The skipper was free in the box and headed home from this corner convincingly. This clipped through ball created a clear opening for the Remy striker to put the Blues in front, and the scoreline had been turned around already. The second half began, and a scrappy phase of play saw the Remy increase their lead in the 51st minute with this clinical finish. A lovely delivery from this free kick led to these penalty shouts being waved away by the referee, leaving the Remy players in disbelief. The AGC were growing into the game, pushing for a goal back, and some good movement and link-up play in the 87th minute saw them find Scott McGeechee, who timed his run perfectly at the back post, giving AGC a chance of a result moving into added time. Strong hold-up play from the big striker, followed by patient passing and movement. A fantastic chip through ball fashioned a huge chance late on, but a bad point of contact meant it was slashed wide. A huge let-off for the Remy, much to the disappointment of the familiar four-legged superfan. There was a late red card for the Remy, believed to be for dissent, as the referee had finally had enough. This free kick, deep into stoppage time, the last action of the match, was taken so poorly by the goalkeeper, and the match ended in disaster for the AGC, as a fourth goal was added by the Remy.
In a game of such fine margins against a good opponent like the Remy, you can't be making those individual errors, so we kind of brought that on ourselves. But I think it's something that we'll learn from. There were good individual performances from us, and overall as a team I think we did okay. We just got to cut out those errors.
And now for a roundup of the rest of the week's football action with Elliot McVie.
First of all, Winchester City were back in action this weekend after last week's postponement, hosting fellow mid-table side Hendon. The citizens got off to a promising start, Warren Bentley rattling the woodwork early on. But it was the Londoners who broke the deadlock on 20 minutes thanks to a fine finish from former Harrow Borough man Billy Leonard. And shortly before the break, the visitors had a second, when a calamitous error from Luke Kearney gifted Sam Adenola an unmissable chance to double the advantage. However, right on the stroke of half-time, the home side's prospects began to look a bit brighter, when Hendon captain Joe White was sent off for a second bookable offence. Despite piling on the pressure in the second half, Winchester just couldn't find that all-important goal. The closest they came was this effort from Tommy Wright, which was controversially disallowed for offside. So in the end, it was the visitors Hendon who held on for a 2-0 victory. Elsewhere in the Championship, Southampton travelled to Huddersfield Town in their first game since the international break. Adam Armstrong gave the Saints the lead in first half stoppage time, but the Yorkshireman denied them 3 points with an 87th minute equaliser. Meanwhile, Portsmouth, who until Saturday was still yet to lose in the league, suffered a shock 4-0 thumping at home to playoff chasing Blackpool. Their spot at the top of the League One table has now been snatched up by Bolton Wanderers. In the National League, Eastleigh faced a daunting trip to table-toppers Chesterfield. They were 3-0 down with 20 minutes to go, and despite mounting a late fight back, they just couldn't get to that much-needed equaliser. However, there was no such disappointment for Aldershot, who, after they looked to be heading to a goalless draw, grabbed a dramatic 98th minute winner to take all 3 points against Halifax Town. And finally, there was a milestone accomplished in the world of women's football last week, when Southampton took on Arsenal at St Mary's. Now the game finished 2-1 to Arsenal, but the Saints achieved a crowd of over 13,000, absolutely smashing their previous record attendance out of the park. Back to you.
There's been a twist in the story of the Camrose, the former home of Basingstoke Town FC. Club owner, Rafi Razak, now intends to sell the ground, having originally planned to build houses and a care home on the site. Basingstoke were kicked out of the stadium back in 2019 and have since been playing at Winklebury Football Complex in the town. Romsey Walking Football Club have raised over £1,000 for local charity Jane Scarth House. The Walking Football Club turned to running when they completed a half marathon in just under 4 hours, raising the much needed money for the Cancer Support Centre based in Romsey. To university football now, as Joel Marriott attended the Winchester men's football thirds training session to see how their season is coming along and how they hope to perform in their next game on the 29th December against Royal Agriculture.
With the football season well and truly underway and the Christmas break coming upon us, I'm with the Winchester men's thirds down at training to find out how they feel like they're getting on this season.
So, season so far, we've had 3 games. We started off with a trip to Marjon, who arguably probably favourites for the league, going off last year's table. We played well. Fortunately, we come off with a loss, but it's a bit annoying. I think if we maybe played them later on in the season when we developed as a squad, it could be a different story. And then we had our second league game. We went away to AEC, come away with a brilliant 1-0 win. It's tricky conditions, but I think the boys played really well. And then we've had 1 cup game so far, which unfortunately lost on penalties. But to sum up the season, offensively, keeper, back 4, midfield have all been solid.
So this season I think we need to work on attacking, namely scoring goals. We've got an unbelievable defence, an unbelievable midfield, on the bench and best in Winch I think. But yeah, we need to get those goals in the net.
With a game on Wednesday against Royal Agriculture.
So I think it'll be pretty. I think it'll be different to last year because obviously we beat them 4-0 last year, so it's a bit comfortable. But I think this year, with the players they've got now, might be a bit difficult. I think we need to go into it expecting that it's going to be a hard game, so we're not like confident and feel comfortable. But I do think we've got a good chance of winning quite well.
The improvements needed in the team have clearly been identified. It is now down to the Winchester men's thirds to implement them in order to have a strong rest of the season. Joel Marriott, Winchester News Online.
A teenage gymnast from Basingstoke has competed in the Aerobic European Championships in Turkey. Felix Smith, who's 15, came 4th for Team GB, narrowly missing out on a medal. Solent University student Piran Phillips has flown to Australia to compete in the ICF Canoe Ocean Racing World Championships. Originally from Cornwall, he is one of 2 Brits to have qualified for the under-23 section of the championships in Perth, which start on the 30th of November. We look forward to catching up with him soon, and we wish him all the best. The Winchester Knights had their first cup game of the year last Wednesday. The highlights from last week's game are brought to you by Charlie Blake.
The game is a cup match between the Winchester Knights and the University of South Wales. Ash wins the tip and the Knights are off. The Knights' first possession of the game leads to an easy 2 points from Rowe as he finishes it with ease at the rim. The South Wales coach is arguing with the referee over some early foul calls and ends up receiving a technical foul. The technical foul leads to free throws which Will just makes as it bounces around the outside of the rim. Some good build-up and a nicely run play leads to another easy basket for Will, giving him 5 points. Ruben gets to the paint with his speed and kicks out to Ben, who strokes it home with ease. The difference is 10 at half-time as the Knights lead 45-35. The second half starts early with an Ash corner 3, giving him 8 so far this game. Ruben again is able to drive to the paint and misses, however Ash continues his dominant performance with 2 second chance points. The Knights win their first cup game 81-55, with Ruben being declared the MVP with 2 points, 12 assists and 10 rebounds. Charlie Blake, Winchester News Online.
Throughout the university, there are a range of popular sports on offer for the students, but one which may go under the radar is futsal. However, it seems their strong performances and promising players of the Winchester teams have not gone unnoticed at all, as Morgan Mitchener-Banks explains.
Despite being one of the newest sports teams around, futsal has already become a very popular society for people at Winchester University. With 2 league titles and a cup victory to their name already, they now have the chance to progress even further, as they have partnered up with professional side Rushmoor Futsal Club to create opportunities to benefit both clubs and their players. Rushmoor are a Hampshire-based side who currently compete in the third tier of the National Futsal Series, which is the equivalent of League One football. Established in 2018, Rushmoor have teams for men, women and children who hope to advance their sporting careers through the five-a-side sport. The university futsal team already had a good connection with Rushmoor prior to this collaboration, with some previous members of the society having gone to Rushmoor already to continue their futsal journey. Winchester Futsal Chairman Stanley Ryan feels this collaboration is the start of something special.
So they've offered us to help coach us a lot. Obviously we're quite self-taught here, we don't have coaches, just our captains do it, but they've got all these professional coaches, all these players with coaching badges that can come down and help us improve so we can hopefully take our game to the next level. Also provides a great opportunity for a lot of us to go and join them once we finish uni if we want to continue playing futsal. It's an easy pathway for us into a high standard of futsal.
So it seems like it will be a promising partnership for these two teams going forward, so hopefully we can see some successes for both teams in the near future. Morgan Mitchner-Banks, Winchester News Online.
That's all we have time for this week. Thank you for joining us. See you soon. Goodbye.